And we're live. It's Monday. It's Airfix and Chill. And we've got almost a full house this evening. We've got Sully, James, Luke, John, Alec, Rorex. Nice to see you back, my friend. It's been a while, hasn't it, since you've been on the chat?
Yep.
New workbench, new house, new workbench in it for you?
New house, new workbench. No hernia.
No hernia.
So
that's good.
All is going better.
That's all right. Nice to have you back, my friend. Pam's also in with us from Kits and Bits, and we have Alex from Man's Model Shop. And just on somewhere around here, I've put it. I don't know what I've done with it. I received a model today of a GP, and I don't know what I've done with it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I received this today. Lovely package from Man's Model Shop. And I'm going to look forward to building that because it does look a little bit lovely, doesn't it? So thank you very much, gentlemen, John, Alec, and Alex, for sending me that. Thank you so much. We'll get into the chat in a minute, but I just want to say that there's been rumorings about Hobby Barn, Harry Senior. There's been things have been said. We've not had any confirmation or any concrete information from him. The last we heard, he was in a hospice. On that note, because he has been a panelist on Airfix and Chill, from all of us here on Airfix and Chill, we want to just send out positive thoughts to his family in any way, shape, or form. As I said, we don't know what the situation is, but his family are in our thoughts and in our prayers. And whatever's happened or happening where he is at the moment, until we get confirmation, obviously, we'll be thinking positively for him. I know he's not very well. He wasn't very well, but our thoughts and our prayers go out here to his family. Okay. And if you can do the same by going onto his channel and finding a video and just commenting and liking it. And if you're not a subscriber to his channel, go and give him a subscription as well. That'll be good. So I thought I'd put that out there now. As I said, we've had no concrete news about him that he was now in hospice care, and our thoughts go out to his family. All right. So moving on, the discussion tonight is basically what model. If you were a CEO of a company, a scale modeling company, or you were in charge of picking a particular kit that you would like to see in the range, and it could be any kit. We're going to start off with things that have not been tooled, and then we'll move on to things that were released in the past. Maybe they could be retooled, but we're going to stick to something that's missing in our lives that we desperately need. Okay, I'm not going to get involved in this, but I'm going to throw it out there to whoever wants to jump in first. If you were CEO of Tamiya, for instance, or CEO of Airfix or Revell, what do you think's missing in a scale model kit, and what would you like to be seen tooled so we can build? And anyone, put their hands up, go on for it, and just let me know what you think's missing. Go on, crack on. Go on, Luke.
I would like to see the likes of Tamiya or Airfix or a well-known manufacturer release a range of 35th scale armor that focuses on British subjects from like late 60s to early 2000s. Things like the Saracen, things like the Tanky Land Rover, that sort of period, particularly focusing on vehicles that were used and adapted to be used in Northern Ireland. Now, I know Accurate Armour do some. I know now there's 3D printed kits available, but I would like to see them more mainstream, more, made from styrene in proper kit form.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see. And as a repop, I would love to see Airfix pop their Herrick range. Because that's a cracking range.
Yeah.
That's what I would see.
I think there's a lot to be said with that. I always find that we are so ingrained with the World War II all the tanks that get put out there is all World War II, isn't it? And you're right. I think it's Hella who did the Saracen in 172 and 135th, and it's very good. Like, is it the Renault? Is it the Renault Varb? Is it called VAB? That's another one that Hella did, but it's such old tooling now. But there is a gap in the market for.
There is, but I don't know whether commercially. I don't know whether it would have enough traction. It's purely from a selfish point of view, really, because I've seen those vehicles and I'd love to build them in styrene form. But I don't know whether there'd be enough traction or interest from the wider community to make it worth their while as a manufacturer.
I think, though, Luke, there is, because if you think about the people, I mean, I have people coming into the shop talking about the ferret. So I've had, I think I can recall 3 people who have come into the shop over the last couple of months who live locally, which is in the southwest, in a little tiny rural place, right? Yeah, and I get the southwest is kind of a more concentration of sort of military personnel, but these were past servicemen, so people in their 70s, 60s and 70s, who used to be in ferrets or worked on ferrets, that whole Cold War bit. So there is a whole generation that actually worked on this, that grew up with them or like worked on them and stuff. So I think there absolutely is, tanks like the Chieftain, all of that stuff. And we do have quite a lot of companies doing, including Airfix now, looking at the Gannet, that sort of 50s, 60s. You think we've had a lot of aircraft from that time, across various manufacturers. Not so much the armor.
No, it's a shame. I mean, you take the Chieftain, for example, as a not just as a main battle tank, but there's so many different variants, all the engineering variants, all the armored recovery variants. There's so much they could do, and it's just a shame that it has to be such a niche thing where you need to go to niche companies and your only option a lot of the time is resin, and that's a shame. It's a real shame.
I think Bill.
Just quickly, because somebody said, Alt92 said, the ferret seems to be a hit. I don't think Airfix have just said, oh, yeah, the ferret's done, that's it, move on to the next thing. I don't think they're going, wow, that Ferret Scout is done amazing. What other armored car can we do next?
Yeah.
Let's bring out another 2. Let's bring out, whatever that's, people, it's a VAB 4x4 it was that had it. And I remember building one as a kid. Yeah. Brilliant. 172 ago. But yeah, I think that is a really good shout. That if something's been a hit, and like you said, when I was there at Bovington last year, and Dale had it there on the stand, the people that were coming up talking to us saying, "I drove these in Northern Ireland. What other toolings can they bring out?" And I think they've cracked a little gold mine there, really. Now you say it, Luke. It's and Alex. I think
just off the top of my head, the Land Rover alone. There are so many different variants of Land Rover that they can do, and it doesn't take a lot more tooling. Once you've got, your 35th scale military Land Rover,
Special Vehicles Division.
It doesn't take a lot of extra tooling to do all the different variants that were used over the years. The Saxon, the Saracen, there's so many. But it's just, I don't know, it's just not done. It's a shame,
Yeah.
And some of those are quite generally nice looking vehicles. Think of the Saladin. That's a cool look. I mean, it doesn't matter what era you belong to. You look at it, it's like, that's cool. And the chassis was used, like you say, for a lot of different stuff. So there's a lot of different things you could do with a base tooling.
Yeah.
The thing with the Ferret was, though, Dale said specifically that they'd looked at the market and nobody had produced a Ferret in 135th before. And that was kind of the reasoning behind that. So maybe they'll be looking at sort of, vehicles in the same sort of line where there are none in 135th and kind of tooling those in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just to build on that a little bit from, what I would like to see in terms of the main manufacturers, Revell, Italieri, I still can't say it properly, but
And it's scary.
it's ingrained.
Yes.
You know, Airfix and Tamiya. I'd like to see them go back a little bit, not wholly, because that was a lot of the reasons that some of them went bust, but to the mentality of just being a bit bolder. So if you look at what, even take some of the old classics, right, like the Bloodhound, you know, the Bristol Bloodhound, that came out a year after that thing went into service. You know, I'd love to see Airfix and, you know, the prototype stuff. You've talked about this before, Moss, about the Concorde, you know, the original tooling being before it came out. What about the BAE Tempest, you know, the 6th gen stuff? What about the Valkyrie? There isn't a kit of the Valkyrie, which is the new drone that's been kicking around in the States for a while, going flight trials. There isn't a kit of that. You know, just be a bit more bold. James Webb Telescope. I mean, you can't get much more famous than something like that. It's space as well, which I know is a personal love of yours. Where can you get a mainstream manufactured James Webb Telescope? You know, just be a bit more bold and just put stuff out more, you know, react a bit more quickly. If they want to get people into the, you know, younger people into the hobby, I mean, things like James Webb Space Telescope isn't much more recognizable than that. You know?
Exactly.
And this new stuff, you know, the F-35 starter kit they've done, as I say, it's still the best seller in the shop. It's the one thing on every single order I get from Airfix. I order 3 or 4 of those each time, because each time I sell out. And it's because people recognize it, you know, and they are predominantly younger people who buy that, or it's bought with, you know, kids with their parents and stuff. It's a good price. It's recognizable, you know, and it just has that resonance. So I just love if all of the manufacturers, this goes across the board, would just adopt that more 1960s, 70s mentality of like imagining, this is be a bit more future looking, a bit more present, you know, and do the stuff that we, you know, kids especially see around them.
John, you were going to say something. John Parker, what were you going to say?
There's a couple of kits that I think might be quite interesting. The Stalwart, for a start. Luke will know all about that. And the other thing that I've never seen from anyone is a large radio telescope or a large radio transmitter. You know, the things that are built with the tripods with the big massive shape.
Yeah, like Arecibo and
I've never seen anyone build anything like that. And I think to build something like that might be very interesting.
Yeah, that's quite true.
Or even a telescope.
Isn't it strange we started on the military though? Isn't it strange that we've started on military? We've had a super chat that's seen this, so thank you very much for the super chat. A Ford Mustang Coupe from Mr. Belmosen. He would like a 1968 Ford Mustang Coupe, not a fastback. But there will be a fastback. You know what I mean? But it's strange that the first thing we think of is military. And Celtic West brought up, I think the Korean War is very well left out in all of this. You know, you're talking Korean War, you're talking Bearcats, but let's not go into that.
The Korean War is as they say, it's the forgotten war.
It's the forgotten war.
Yeah.
But like you said, you know, about the boldness, and I understand this mentality about boldness.
Yeah.
But isn't it the fact that the reason why people produce the Messerschmitts and the Spitfires is to pay for the tools of things that wouldn't necessarily get paid for the first time round? It's a juggling act, really. But being bold is a big thing. I think Tamiya were quite bold with the 148 range when they brought all them out. You know, with you know, that range of armor.
Yeah.
I think Airfix were bold bringing their 148 Afghanistan Operation Herrick range out, but unfortunately, you know, all it took was that range to be mentioned in the House of the Parliament because of a resin building. That everybody got their ass in their hands saying, "Oh, we're treating war." But then I say, "Hang on a minute, we're scale modelers who are representing war. What about Grand Theft Auto when you've got to kill a guy, put him in the ground, and cover him with concrete?" You know what I mean? And people are getting up in arms because we wanted to create a diorama of an Afghan battle zone, which included a blown out house.
Why aren't they,
weird, you know?
Why aren't they having a go at Call of Duty?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
You know?
I mean, there was nothing
Kids play
saying
that
that.
type of thing all the time.
Nothing. I mean, I know it said up Herrick on it, but there's nothing saying that it couldn't have been an Afghan house from, you know, first Afghan war or the second Afghan war or, you know, the Russian invasion of Afghan.
Yeah.
I've never really understood that viewpoint. And it's out there. We all know it's out there. Particularly if you put content out.
Yeah.
The moment you're talking about more modern conflicts that are within living memory, if you like, of most people now.
Yeah.
People start getting very, very offended and very, very upset. But they'll quite happily build a Tiger tank with an SS crew. Or I don't really, everything we do, whether it be Allied, Axis, whatever, everything is a weapon of war.
Yeah.
If you're a military modeler, it doesn't matter which side it was on. It's all a weapon of war, and it's designed with one purpose in mind, really. So, you know, I just don't get it. But it's very, very political. Certain subjects, very political.
But as we're saying, like, you know, giving on the focus of kits that we think should be released, I'd like to see more military wheeled vehicles, armored wheeled vehicles from all of them. I was at Bovington, and outside they've got a Challenger, haven't they? Outside, and I spent a while just looking at that Challenger right at the front, and I didn't realise that where you've got the bit where the lookout, where they've got like you can look, it's like a 360 thing, isn't it? And you've got the windows going around.
Yeah,
every window has a wiper blade, isn't it? You know, every single window has a wiper blade. If anyone should be doing a Challenger, it should be Airfix. You know, they've got one right there. Yeah. They could scan it, they could take it to bits and do it proper, like, you know. But he said there's a lot that's missing in the ranges, or things that are forgotten and they need to be redone. And as I said, military-wise, I would like to see more of that. And I think the Ferret has proved that there is a scope there to do it.
I think I think somewhere along the line, someone needs to do a Churchill, a decent Churchill.
Yeah.
The decent
there's so many fun. There's all the different variants of the Churchill. There's all the funnies and all that lot. So
well, I suppose if they did a bog standard one, you could, that's one kit where you can say, this is the bog standard Churchill. Here's the bridge pack you can have in the front. Yeah. Here's the mines, the minesweeper bit on the front, or whatever. You can the flamethrower on the front. Do the crocodile. There's all sorts you can do, but they don't, do they?
Airfix have done that in 76 scale, but they've rolled out that old 1958 molding for Churchill. Why? Why didn't they update it?
Yeah. Is there a call for 176 scale? This is it. You're going down the path of, it's like people say, see, I'm loving Rubicon's 156 scale. Believe it or not, I've got another one here which came from Model Officer this week in his inspiration box. Give me a Rubicon. What was it again? Panther. He's given me this. The tracks are all, the tracks are already molded. It's not one I've had to put together. And I looked at the detail on it, and I'm thinking 156 Airfix. If Airfix are going to get into wargaming, why aren't they developing a 156 scale wargaming thing as well with their tooling?
Because it matches the the 28 millimeter.
It does.
And there's so many 28 millimeter military stuff out there where you could.
I'm going to see that very well. So
I said, put it camera forward. Take your blur off, I think.
Yeah, I'll do that in a minute. But that's a Rubicon Centurion.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show that with a little bit of, although they're wargaming pieces, at that scale, you can do a lot with them because they lend themselves to a vignette or a diorama. Yeah. You don't need loads of. If that was 35th scale, it'd be huge.
Yeah.
So they do lend themselves to that.
Yeah. Do AAF do some funnies in 135th? They do, don't they?
They do some of them, yeah.
They don't do them all, though, do they?
No.
But it's definitely something to look at. I think we tend to look at what Tamiya have done in the armor realm, don't we? Like if you think of, I want to build a tank, I want this particular tank. What's the first thing you do? You look on Tamiya's website, don't you, to see if they've done it.
Buy a
And to be
Walker
fair,
Bulldog at Amos.
yeah, that's right. You know, but then again, that tooling is 1959, or was it 1969? Isn't it?
1969, yeah.
It's still a good tooling. Imagine what they could do with it now if they retooled it. You know, it's but yeah, it's quite weird. We've gone down the armory. I'm just trying to think of other things I'd like to see in armor in one, you know, from somebody that's not really been done. But I said, yeah, challenger tanks. You know, Trumpeter and Tamiya have got challenge. Airfix haven't. Revell do a challenger, but that's not their tooling, though, is it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
The Tamiya tooling, the Revell one.
Is it?
Riffield models do a good range of challenger.
It's expensive, though, isn't it? Riffield models, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I bought a Riffield model kit the other week, and from the look of it, it's well worth the money. I bought the.
Oh yeah, you get lots for your money, but does it appeal to a more mass market? Because you've got to. They're not shake and bake kicks like a Tamiya would be, for example. So maybe if some of the more,
and they're not necessarily that available, are they, Luke?
No. Look at the Cali 2 that's available from in 148 scale, the desertized version.
Yeah,
that is a fantastic kit to build.
Brilliant kit.
Plastic Alchemist says, for me, it would be more Formula One cars. The trouble with Formula One cars is they are so complex now, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, there's so many lumps and bumps, and you know that takes a hell of a lot to get them right. You know, I suppose you can go to some from like, you know, in the 2015, 2016, there's a load, you know, at Haynes, isn't there? There's a Formula One car at Haynes and stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, Formula One cars that would be a good shout to see some Formula One cars, as it's the biggest sporting event in the world. You know, you can stick your NASCAR up your ass. We've got Formula One, haven't we? Like, you know what I mean? I just think it's, I'd like to see more Formula. I'd like to see more of the cars that are on the road now.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, somebody said we're going to bring out a Tesla Model S. I'll be up for building that. Imagine doing those wings, you know, those doors. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you muck it up, you can set fire to it.
Yeah. You could, if you get me, just burn it out.
Something for Sully.
Yeah. You know, there you go. Formula One car modes are hard to find. I've been trying to find the Tiro 006 for ages and still not found one at an affordable price.
Drop me a message, Gary.
Yeah.
Somebody's new tooled one of those this year, haven't they?
Yeah.
Can't think who it is.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
God.
Again, licensing.
Yeah.
The thing about licensing is that there's ways around it. We know that Gecko don't care about licensing; they just won't call it that, won't they? You know what I mean? And I've seen in Poundland cars, right, racing cars. Instead of the word shell, they've got the word shill, right? You know, it's like instead of BP, it's BR. You know what I mean? I've seen them do it.
What was the one with tires on it? Was it good ear?
Used to be
good ear.
Good ear on.
Good tier.
Put good beer on it.
Like when you find your Googie sunglasses when you go on holiday. Down by the beach, Googie.
I remember years and years ago this was, right? We were going to school and we just come back home from the holidays, and all of us were wearing what we thought were Nike socks, because their parents had gone to Traeger Mills and bought these socks that had the word. We thought it said the word Nike, but it wasn't. It was hike. But we all thought it was. From Jacob Mills. That was.
With the swirl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the tick of Nike. It was the sure tick. You know what I mean? It was more of a straight one, not a curved one. Yeah, I remember that back in the day, in the 90s. There is the advertising issue with tobacco. You know, that's quite true. But again, does it really matter? Because things change in life.
Yeah.
I don't think there will be hammered for that. I don't suppose. I'm showing my age there.
Yeah, but
I know.
You got rules and regulations for commercials and stuff like that, so you can't really do that without having any consequences, I think.
Well, I
With
suppose
tobacco.
instead of putting, I guess, but suppose of putting up the logo of it, maybe on the side of the car, they could have the guy with the missing teeth, saying this is what happens when you smoke 50 a day on the side of a car. That would stop it, wouldn't it? How about flying boats from the interwar years? The short C-class Empire boat would be on my shopping list.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot of them.
The Empire flying boat. So I think Airfix did the Empire flying boat, didn't they?
No, they did the Clipper.
Yeah.
oh, the Clipper, yeah.
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 But there's a lot.
There's
There's the short
the
Sunderland
Empire
that needs doing
Sunderland.
again. Yeah, the short Sunderland needs doing again, doesn't it? That's another one.
Yeah.
That
Didn't Italy do that one? New
Yeah,
tool?
they did.
Yeah, they do.
They
Sterling.
do
Paul
they?
Sterling too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd like to
I
see
get that.
some better detailed post-war passenger aircraft. In particular, I'd like to see the Lancastrian with the option of having the two jet engines instead of the four Merlins or whatever they were using post-war. Again, the Manchester. I was going to say that's criminally underdone in modern world. The Avro Manchester.
Does anybody do one?
I'd like to see an updated version of the Fokker 27 and maybe the Constellation as well. I don't just mean stick the sides together, stick the wings on, stick the props on, paint it, and you're done. I mean with the nice detailed interior this time, because on the F-27 last time you literally got you got the option to have the door open with some Doris walking up the steps, but there was no interior to it. There's no platform, there's no floor, no seats, no nothing. So I'd like to see that. The Lancaster specifically for me would be the jewel in the crown if they did one.
Yeah.
Do you think they could build 44 scale exec jets to go with the airliners, the airport diodes and stuff?
Yeah. Martin B says, "All right, again, if it's worth it as an ex soldier from 80s and 90s, I like to see more Cold War subjects or 1991 Gulf War, Northern Ireland subject. It's very hard for me to find old stuff." You're quite right, mate. Like I said, we seem to focus on World War II on a lot of this stuff, but it's the staple of scale modeling throughout everybody's, whether it's Tamiya, Revell, Airfix, Italy. You look at what they always box and put out there is that night, because that was the beginning of flight on a lot of this. This was the beginning of armor. Was it Churchill said, if we have a World War III, World War IV would be fought with bows and arrows because we've had to reset the clock. And I think that's quite right. We seem to tend, but as the generations are getting older, as Luke said, those who have served in Northern Ireland, with the Ferret Scout, that was the go-to car. I think that that's opened up, that people want to still build this stuff. I wanted to build it because it looked cool, Special hobby do at 172nd Sunderland too. I didn't know that they do. Bren says I'll go for a Lancastrian as well, Tam. So yeah. And Frankie Day Models, I'm working on a 3D SR145 Princess flying boat.
Hi, Frankie Day. How's it going, mate? Going well.
Inspired by Alex's mystery box, how about post-World War II modified vehicles and aircraft as a Super Shermans? Don't know. Be interesting. Hobbycraft was selling the B-29s around £40, I think. Yeah, they were.
Well, as mentioning
no.
things that haven't been told, I'd say the Covenanter tank.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Because
Yeah.
that would get one person very happy.
Yeah, the Tank Museum did one of their tank chats about about that tank. Yeah, that would be cool. As would the Hustler. I forget what the number was. What is that? B-57 or something like that.
58.
B-58. I was close.
Yeah.
So I started modeling in kind of early to mid 70s, and so those were kind of the models that were there at the time. The old monograms and the Rebels. Yeah. And I remember building that Hustler, but that would be over 50 years old now.
That doesn't matter, John. The Revell will still bring it out. You can still build that kit again.
That'll be a 2025 new release.
Yeah.
Or the interwar period for the planes. Which a lot of that's not touched.
It'll come with new decals.
Right. But there's not a lot of those kits that came out in that period, the Cold War subjects that have been retooled and come out as brand new, either World War II.
There's not a lot of aircraft models released with Korean War decals either. You get your Sabres and the MiG-15s, but not a lot else.
There's a P-51 as well, and Corsairs.
Yeah.
Well, F-51 it was, I think, and I think most of the Sabres are in Korean War colors.
Yeah, most of the Sabres.
I think there are. And there are some Panthers, I think, and stuff like that. But it's just like the normal stuff, and Sky Raiders as well. But it's not abundantly the rest of the stuff.
Have you seen that box on New News on Rorex's video there, Moss?
Oh my gosh!
What has he got there? Oh. That's the monogram one. I've built that one. Yeah. It's not bad, actually, to be fair. It's not bad. It shows its age, obviously, because of the age, So, Airfix F-51 box is Korean War markings.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, definitely.
Isn't the Airfix the old Firefly kit? Isn't that Korean War markings as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's the Mark 4 or 5, I think.
Mark 5, isn't it?
Mark 5, yeah.
Yeah.
But there are some, but it's a little bit, I think it's due to you think it's late World War II, but then it turns out to be Korean.
Yeah,
it's a good shout, that actually, the Korean War. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm just thinking in my mind because, I don't think Korean War was ever discussed at school. Vietnam War was.
It wasn't.
Falklands was definitely Falklands. But then again, what do we actually put on the Falklands Islands from British troops? There wasn't a lot, was it? We just basically bombed it to get rid of the.
No, there were a lot of troops on ground.
But
they lost also a lot on the boats because they lost a lot of boats as well. The Royal Navy.
Yeah.
Oh God,
I think that between the Atlantic Conveyor and the Sagala they lost 250 men on both of those ships. And they were ground troops.
And the Coventry, right? And
and the Sheffield and the Antelope.
And the Ardent.
The Antelope.
Yeah, the Antelope and the Ardent. They were both
the Falklands was a logistical nightmare. For things like armor, vehicles, because there was no port that could be secured enough to allow that sort of equipment to be put on the island. So it was very much an infantry and air campaign.
When we lost the Atlantic conveyor, we lost all the helicopters for doing that.
Yeah.
No,
And
almost all the
helicopters and cross-decking accidents as well, as I recall rightly. And I think when the SAS did their little raid as well, they had to fly it to Peru and burn it out.
Yeah, that was in the South Georgia Islands. They lost 2 Wessex. And
that's right.
Then they even came out with that radar version of it.
Yeah, the AW2.
Yeah.
Gary T just said then, I was actually building a model of the HMS Sheffield when the news came through that it had been hit. Crumbs.
Yeah.
Crumbs, yeah. Did the Germans had armored trains? Did the Brits have the same or no?
I don't know. I know the Russians did.
Yeah.
The Russians did. I don't think the British did, or they didn't say anything about it.
Really, because we're on an island basically. Yeah. England's on an island. This is why I've always said, what I reckon that Channel Tunnel is full of bombs. If there's ever any problems, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to blow that tunnel up, aren't they?
Of course it is.
That's gone, that is.
No, not being funny. Right. The channel's used as a dumping ground for the ordnance when they have to turn the planes around for bad weather. It's most of the
and also where I live.
Yeah.
This was also where I live. It was also water, and a lot of the bombs fell in the IJsselmeer at that moment.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with the channel, though, isn't there? There's so many sunken ships and downed aircraft and stuff in there. They literally couldn't pick up any U-boats that were going through there because they'd be getting reflections from the sunken ships, the downed aircraft, the drop bombs, and they just literally pummeled the whole thing. So all the wrecks that are down there are literally all mashed to pieces. All the aircraft down there, they were all obliterated by the destroyers. Hence it's so dangerous down there for divers now.
The CVR-T Scorpion made it onto the Falklands, and so did somebody say that the Scimitar did as well?
Yeah,
Scimitar did.
Light reconnaissance type vehicles made it on, but you didn't see sort of main battle tanks and that sort of stuff because the terrain just didn't lend it.
Yeah, that's another would be a hit. The Rapier.
The Argentina army also didn't have a lot of battle tanks. They only had a few amphibious stuff and some APCs coming up. So it wasn't really a main battle tank war.
A lot of crap, really, isn't it? It wasn't thought out really well from either side, was it? See the thing,
Yeah, I mean, the invasion to start with wasn't well thought out, was it? But the response to it was equally. But then again, how do you respond to something like that? I mean, would the response, if it happened today, be any better?
Be worse.
I mean, we literally have six F-35s, and they all belong to the RAF. They're not naval F-35, so.
Yeah,
you need a working aircraft carrier for them to go off.
Yeah.
Exactly. My dad served in the Falklands. He was part of 2 power. So yeah, he was on the ground. He saw I was going to swear then. What a shambles it was.
Yeah, I can see that.
We're still
The military never learned from mistakes made during World War II either, did they? I mean, why bring those landing ships into the Falkland Sound at daybreak? What were they thinking of?
Yeah.
We were told, we had a chap in school who came to our school to talk about the Falklands War, and he said that he nicked the boots off of dead Argentina because they were better than the English crap that they were wearing.
Trench foot was still a problem in the Falklands. Well, we were dealing with that in the First World War. So you're absolutely right. The British military didn't learn any lessons at all, really.
Nobody does a 135th Stalwart and Saracen or Salamander all on the same chassis, ideal for Airfix in their home market. Yeah, we said that before. There's definitely a look there. Because just about 30 miles away from me or 20 miles away from me is where Supercat is based.
Oh yeah.
And Duncan,
They make the Jackal.
And they did the what was it called again? They did two, didn't they? For
You did the Coyote and the Jackal.
the Jackal,
Yeah, the Jackal. What was it? Yeah.
Yeah, Supercat.
They did the Coyote as well. So the Jackal is the 4-wheeled one,
Yeah,
the small one, and the Coyote is 6-wheeled. So it's more of a load carrying type vehicle.
yeah,
But they do both in their Herrick range.
yeah. They are indeed.
Does anybody do the Coyote?
Yeah, they
So
did
again,
both in the FX Herrick range.
Airfix do them.
Okay,
Yeah.
because Hobby Boss does the Jackal.
I don't think anyone does the bigger one in 35th. I know
No.
Hobby Boss do the Jackal.
Yeah.
In 35th, and that's a great kit, but I don't think they do the Coyote, which is a shame.
Mm.
Doesn't Ace Models do the Stalwart in 35th?
There are out there definitely, and there's a sort of developing 3D printed market. They're doing all these sort of vehicles, but it would just be nice to see them, a mainstream manufacturer in style,
doing a range of them.
Yeah, doing the whole range. Yeah.
Well, it just shows, doesn't it? The fact that they are people doing 3D printed kits shows that there is a market for it.
Also,
Yeah. In fact, I've ordered a Saracen, a Saxon, and a Tangy Land Rover, all 3D printed. All 3D printed resin that you put together. But it was just nice to see them in styrene, and
I think that's what puts me off with 3D is just how easy it is that we use cement to bond two pieces of plastic together, whereas 3D it is hit and miss with the super glue. There's not an actual bond, is there?
Well, you've got the last 3D printed full resin kit that I did was like a Warhammer Knight, basically, like about 10 inches full 3D resin. Yes, you can use CA glue, but you're absolutely right. It's fragile because CA glue shatters, essentially. So you have to pin it and all that stuff to give it that stability. And that's why it would be nice if someone or a manufacturer said, we'll do it in styrene. Then you avoid all that hassle of having to pin stuff. And sanding, it doesn't matter how good your 3D printer is, you're still going to have a lot of sand, that you're still going to have layer lines, you're still going to have, and that's another issue that could be avoided with styrene.
That's it. It's those lines, isn't it? You've got to buff them out, haven't you? Really hard. It's hard going.
And some of the printers now, like those lines are microscopic. You know what I mean? They are difficult to see with the naked eye, but they're still there.
But wouldn't a good primer cover that up, though?
Yeah, potentially, yeah. If you've got like a microfilling primer or something,
to be
honest, I use Sprue Goo to cover up, 3D prints with visible lines. If you use Sprue Goo and then just wipe it over, then sand it flush, it's done, gone, dealt with.
But again, you're sanding resin. That's the killer, isn't it? It's more dangerous than paint, isn't it? Allegedly, I don't know much about it. I know Alex did a video on it, didn't? Or was it? Or you shared a video on it that somebody said that this resin, there's more harm in it than there is on the actual paint that we use. But it's.
There's risk in everything. I think as long as you take appropriate precautions, then it,
I wear a condom.
Don't tell them your real name. Well.
I know someone who gave up resin modeling when he had children. About them inhaling the dust and that,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a bit OCD, but because a lot of the time when I'm in here building or whatever, my dog is in here, sat behind me asleep. So now if I'm working on a resin kit or resin aftermarket or whatever, I do that in the garage.
Yeah.
So,
you're not the only one who said that, Luke. I've heard that said a few times.
Because I'm not wrestling a respirator onto his face. There's no way. So I'll do it in the garage.
No, mine would eat it.
Yeah, that's a good call.
So
basically, same with lacquer paints as well.
Yeah.
My dog she's always there behind me, you know. And
Is that
if I'm
because
sitting
she's
here
stiff enough?
doing lacquer paints, I'm poisoning her. So
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same with Squiddy. When it comes to anything like that, he goes outside.
Yeah, I get that. So we got the arbor side. What things? What other things would people like to see tooled plane wise? We've gone through some plain civilians, but what new stuff would you like to see? Now, can't say F-35B because I think everyone's got one in their range now. You know.
What about the Su-151?
That's a good shout. Yeah.
Or into war.
Into war stuff.
Or into war.
Yeah.
I would like to.
Again, I think the flying boats was a good shout. I think there's definitely not a gap in the market for flying boats, but a gap in the market for decent flying boat kits. You know?
I think that's the key. Most stuff is available, but decent stuff is tricky.
Yeah.
A decent Comet.
Yeah,
Racer.
Oh, a de Havilland Comet?
Yeah, 88 Comet, decent.
The first jet airliner, right? Wasn't it?
No, the twin engine.
No,
the
the racer.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Well, we said that before. It's like
I would like that one.
there's not a decent Trident, is there? The Hawker Siddeley Trident. We've got the vintage classic from Airfix. We haven't got a decent one, have we?
The only other, well, there's two other companies that brought a Trident out, isn't there? And
Or a
unfortunately,
VC10.
Veb Plasticart was one of them.
Oh, Plasticart, yeah. DC10, that's a good shout.
VC10.
The
Not
DC10.
VC10.
Yeah,
VC10.
DC10,
Yeah.
didn't they?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
right.
I would like to see someone like Airfix or someone that's raised their game do some of the heavy lift military aircraft. Like, I know they're available, but like Tam said, decent kits.
Yeah.
Maybe a range of like 144th heavy lift, A400s, C47, you know, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That would be, but decent ones.
Yeah.
You know, because they are available. But you got
I think
your
Airfix is Airfix is led by money men, and then they'll look at the way that the Nimrod didn't sell.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because it's a beautiful kit.
Yeah.
Really
but
nice.
I mean, the Nimrod looks like a bulldog licking the piss off Stinging Nettle, though, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
Said about the Gannet as well, couldn't you?
Yeah, but I think the Gannet was it was more of a step forward. You know, I think people bought it because the tooling was amazing, rather than the fact that it was an ugly bug, if you know what I mean. It doesn't look that great, but I don't think it's that ugly. I think it's actually quite a good looking aircraft, to be honest, in its own very unique way.
Well, the French did their version of it as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
The Atlantique.
Yeah, it was a Brugger Atlantique, wasn't it?
No, the Elise.
Oh, the Elise of the Gannet version.
That's like the Gannet.
That's even a weirder plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's got a
very
it's got a very small engine.
Yeah.
Compared to the Gannet.
And it had a cockpit like a 5-window Ford Coupe.
I would like Airfix. I would like somebody. I know Airfix did one with Hella back in the day. It's the Lockheed S3A Viking. I'd like to see that retooled.
Possibly,
That'd be a nice plane. That'd be a nice plane.
I would like to see. We don't have them in the UK, but I would like to see some of the fire planes that they use in the US. You know,
Yeah.
Big bushfires and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some of those done.
Yeah, the Martin Mars.
Yeah, the Martin Mars. I saw 2 of them
Mm.
in real life once. Those are awesome.
But like, you know,
I think that Martin built for the US Navy.
Yeah.
There is a bandwagon kit out there.
I have to look that up.
From Meng, I believe.
Is it Meng or is it Tacom? It's one of them.
I can't remember. It's one of the two. But I mean, I started it the other day when I saw it on eBay because I was like, "Oh, we'll do a little kind of Royal Marines in Norway diorama with that thing." if I'm not giving too much away for the future. But yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Just be careful. If you're going to do the Marines version, that's the wrong version.
was it?
I believe Accurate Armor do a conversion set.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the heads up.
I mean, it looks very similar, but because you're putting it out there in public, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't aware there was kind of that many differences, to be honest. I'm not
there's a few.
on that sort of stuff. So
I would love someone
to mention it and made it a bit easier.
Yeah, I would love someone to do so on that line to do the Viking that they use in Afghan.
Yeah.
Because that essentially is a modified, updated BB. You know, that's what it is. Because it works just as well on sand as it does in snow. That would be very cool. If Airfix did that in 48, along with the rest of their Herit range, I'd be a happy modeler for the next couple of years. That's for sure.
So you say that, like, going back to that 148 range from Airfix, I had so much fun painting and building the quad bikes in that range.
You had so much fun looking around the floor for that seat.
Did you find it?
I did, yeah. I did.
Yeah, after you finished.
I found it in next door's garden, actually.
Actually, that range,
Carpet Monster must have been very big.
That got me into scale modelling.
Yeah, that's right.
That range. The first thing I built was a Snatch Land Rover because I was walking around Hobbycraft bored. I hadn't been out of the army very long. I was walking around bored and I saw it, and they did it in like I don't think they called it a starter set, but it had like 6 paints in it. It had some figures and a Snatch Land Rover, and I bought it because I used to work on Snatch Land Rovers.
Yeah.
And then all those years later and thousands of pounds in, here we are, you know, but it was that range. I built all of them, built the whole range. Loved them.
From Airfix, I'd like a 172nd Vickers Viscount.
That would be a big kit.
That would be a big kit, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But then again, you know, they have been, you know, like I said, I've got that B1B Rockwell there, which is 172nd scale. That's a big kit. You know, ultimately, what they need to retool Airfix is a decent bloody Concorde, and I think they will this year. I think Concorde's on its way.
I was thinking about you last night, man.
Were you?
I was, yeah. So on Channel 4, they're doing a documentary series. I believe there's 3 parts, all about Concorde, and it was almost like a space race between East and West to develop supersonic commercial travel. It was all about Concorde and everything else, and I thought, they need to do a new tool Concorde, because what an amazing piece of engineering that was.
Well, they can do the engine test bed for the engines out of the Vulcan kit, because obviously it's for the engines.
I put a picture on Twitter of that with that engine underneath the Vulcan.
Yeah,
did that before. But no, I've said it for 5 years that, you know, even when I did the challenge, you know, the Revell one is crap. The Airfix have got the 2. They've got the original one that they took off the prototype, which didn't have the nose. Yeah. The Hella 172nd scale one, I talked to someone the other day, and he said that's just a pile of buggery anyway. You know, he fought him everywhere. You know, but to be fair, the Airfix one does go together all right. It's just inaccurate. That's the issue with the Airfix one. It's inaccurate, but it goes together fine.
Don't Hella do a 125th scale one as well, though?
They do, yeah. There's a double pack. I think Miss Mod like when they offered it, didn't they?
I honestly don't know what it's like, but might be nice.
Well, and they put it in with another model. It does say a lot, though, doesn't it? They wanted good money for it as well. I think Miss Modler was saying they're about £40.
Bloody hell.
So yeah, but 120th scale is or whatever 125. I think it was when it 1 to 125.
125th, yeah.
I think
there's a few airliners in that scale. Actually.
Yeah.
How about the Caravelle,
Wayne?
Yeah, Wayne. Yeah, why don't they bring out a 1/16 Bismarck for you to do, mate? We wouldn't see you on the channel anymore.
Yeah.
So who's doing a 148 Viking then? Who's doing that this year?
Kinetic, probably.
Oh,
Yeah, it might be Kinetic. Yeah, might be Kinetic. Yeah.
One thing I was going to say, actually, Moss, from listening to the conversation, we've been talking about all these kits, and each of us has like come in with little bits of information. It's like, oh, Meng do this. Oh, Kinetic do that. Oh, Riffield do this. Isn't it funny how of all of these, we're talking about mainstream manufacturers, that we want Airfix and Revell and Tamiya and all this to do this.
Yeah.
But all of these ones that are being covered, they're all Chinese manufacturers or all East Asian manufacturers that are stepping into that space. And I think that if the mainstream manufacturers don't do some of this, it's going to be too late. They're going to be occupied by, you've got 3 or 4 models, and they all might have small inaccuracies, but you can kit bash them together, and they're all going to be East Asian companies. I don't think that's a good thing. I think Airfix and Tamiya and stuff need to step up a bit and fill in some of these gaps.
This was the
before they're
debate.
filled in for them.
This was a debate we had about ICM. Okay, now they're bringing out some fabulous tooling. That boat that I built, this one here. Okay, this one here. I thought it was a delightful little build in 144. I enjoyed it. It was a 3 days worth of work, bit of painting. But why did they release it? Why didn't they do something more mainstream? Why are they bringing out a lorry that could be made into a chaplain? Like a little church thing. I just think why don't they put their efforts into putting some stuff that's mainstream into the mix? But then we argue then saying that we don't get enough off mainstream stuff as well. But if ICM brought out an up-to-date Challenger 2 tank, we would be all on tripods wanting to buy it and build it. But no, you ask anyone, the Challenger 2 from Tamiya, old trumpeter, isn't all that, is it? I believe.
I think it's still building it.
I did enjoy building it. It was like my first ever tank build, so but, I mean, it didn't stand out for me, and it's not the best Tamiya tank kit I've ever built, but it's by no means the worst.
I think as it stands today, with who's got stuff out there, if you want to build a Challenger 2 Riffield model,
Aero Club,
Riffield models are the go-to at the minute. But as Alex said, they're not always easily obtainable, and because of each Riffield models and the way they do things and the way their kits go together, it's certainly not a first or second tank build. There's a lot of PE in there. There's a lot of other stuff going on.
But do they give you the option of not using the PE? Sorry, Sally, go on.
I says if you don't want to do tracks, you don't want to do their kits either.
No, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
1,000-part track. It is Riffields is a more, at least intermediate company to go for, and Tacomar as well. Yeah. But yeah, I think there is option. I'm trying to think back to the ones I've done. I think there is options to not use the PE.
I think with
if I remember rightly,
to TES, which is the theatre entry standard, so that's the most up to date. You have to use the PE to attach the side skirts, the armour. By the standard Challenger 2 from Riffield, I think you're right. There's an option not to use the PE. You can just use styling.
Yeah.
Does anybody know if there's an issue with Aero Club at the moment? Because apparently, if you look at anything that Aero Club do on scale mates, it's not available to the public.
Know, mate.
I also had it for this kit that I have.
So apparently not. Johan's got one.
Well, the Netherlands, the Dutch Navy had, I think, 1 or 2 of them, and I couldn't find it. And there's only 2 manufacturers that make them, and that's Azure and that's Aero Club. And I just stumbled around this one, and I got it for a bargain, so I was quite happy with it. But stuff like that, there aren't a lot of kits around of certain types, and it's always a little bit the dodgy manufacturers that make it, and it's either a vacuum mold like this one, which has a few like sprues in it, and the rest is like vacuum mold and stuff like that, and some metal parts. But it's very strange that certain kits are just non-existing.
Well, I think that's because some companies just don't want to touch them because they're not going to make much money on it.
Oh, probably yes. That's probably the thing. Because a Walrus is more accessible, I think, because I think Revel makes one, Airfix makes one, but the Sea Otter is quite strange.
Frog built one as well.
Aero Club are long out of business. John stopped as he's 80 plus and wants to enjoy his pension. So there's your answer, mate.
It is. There we go. I was looking at their stuff on Aero Club the other day, and I noticed. Oh, that's interesting. The list is still there, but you can't view anything.
Nigel Stedman, right?
Yes.
What about a range of earth movers? Now, I spoke to Dale about this because I drove when I was a young lad. I drove a Euclid R90. I drove a Volvo BM articulated A40. I think I drove. I used to drive or use O&K shovels. Caterpillar stuff would be amazing. I would love a D9M bulldozer or a grader, and they have discussed it before, but nothing's come to fruition. But I'd love to do a full. I see them now as resin kits, but they're like 150 quid. The Euclid R90.
I think there are a couple of sort of genres, if you like, that just aren't well done at all. So I know Hasegawa have done a few like industrial type machines. But that's a whole area, earth movers, JCBs, all that stuff. A whole area that is just almost impossible to find.
Well, they're done in die cast, aren't they? That's the problem. But they release them as die cast, but not as plastic kits.
And then you've got the whole sort of civil emergency services range. Now I know Revell have done a couple of fire engines and that, but it's a vast area that could be explored by the manufacturers, and they just don't seem to touch them at all, or there's very few offerings, and that's a shame.
This is the one I wanted. This is the one I wanted to buy, which I thought, but you basically you don't buy it. You actually just buy the what's it called, the thing. But that's the one I wanted to do for my old man.
Cool. You'd have a Tonka toy.
That's all. You pay for it. You pay for the STI files, is it?
STI, not STI. That's a difference.
Yeah. That's all right. Yeah.
You don't want to pay for an STI.
I'm not paying 80 quid for an STI.
That's what I used to drive. You see, part of the Volvo Michigan.
Yeah, driving STI.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that sort of stuff. How cool is that?
I know. That's what I used to drive. I wanted to do it.
From a modelling point of view and a weathering point of view, like it's a blank canvas.
Could have some fun with the yellow paint with that, Moss.
Yeah, I'd love it. I would. I would love it. I would love to get this because you wouldn't spray the back up yellow. You just keep that rusty and silver, wouldn't you? Rusty and
just be scratched to hell.
But look at the detail on this,
muddy, dirty.
So just look at the detail on it. It's just fabulous, isn't it? But it's all you just download the STL files.
Yeah.
But then if you want, there's a but the price of it, like here you go, is it? If you wanted a detailed interior, I suppose. You pay for it. Like the detailed interior for this is 1,060 quid.
Obviously.
So you get to So if you get it all together,
the sky's the limit, isn't it?
You know, you put it all in, £2,000.
Yeah,
Yeah, forget it.
as much as a real thing, near enough, isn't it?
Mm.
So you could hire a real thing for less than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could probably pick up a decent Tonka toy for less than that.
Yeah. That'll have an interior.
There are people that do that, aren't they? They buy the
That's a real move.
and sort of weather it up. And, yeah.
But no, that's what if somebody brought one of them out in styrene, you know, you wouldn't see me for 3 weeks because I'll be just there working on it constantly. You know, they were animals. You know, I think they had like 22-litre engines in them or something.
Do you think there's a market for stuff like dumper trucks and like JCBs and stuff like that?
Mm.
It's probably a niche market within a niche market.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know, because the railway guys, I mean, James, would you buy stuff that was, say, 00 scale?
Well, I know people my former clients are completely mad enough to buy things like that. So,
to be honest with you, I've been after a decent excavator for ages. That's not going to cost a fortune.
Mm. Yeah. But that's the exact one that I drove, the R90. That's the one I drove. It had like it had cameras on it and everything, like, you know. And what made me laugh was you're driving around in the quarry on the cliff edge, and all they gave you was these 4 little lamps at the front to keep you on the road. You know? I used to stand next to it, and those wheels were taller than me, like, you know. Yeah. He used to get at the front, out the side, banging you a get. Yeah, he's like driving. It was an amazing, fun time. But yeah, if they did something like that, I would love to build that. I really would. But they're not going to. Somebody just put up here
on that.
I can't see that being right. 20 plus for a license fees per kit for construction equipment. I can't see that being right, you know. I really can't see that. There's no, no, I can't see it. A UK police riot van, you could make an interesting civil disturbance diorama with that. That's quite true.
I was thinking earlier, have they ever done a Green Goddess army fire truck model? Because I would do shit out of that.
Yeah, I don't think they have.
No, I don't think
love to see, because I remember when like the fire strikes were on in the 90s. The army having to come in and cover them in the old Green Goddesses, and we used to see them charging up and down the road when they were off out to put out fires wherever they were off out putting fires. So,
well, they were on call in the UK during the 70s, weren't they? When we had all the strikes on them.
They were in use right up until like the late 90s, I think, weren't they? The old Green Goddess.
They're based on an RL, weren't they?
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't be able to tell you. I have no idea.
RL, yeah.
And even the early 2000s, so when I first went to Germany in the early 2000s, the fire cover, because obviously in Germany, there's a massive military establishment in Germany. And all the fire cover on the bases was still Green Goddesses. They do like 20 mile an hour downhill with a strong wind behind them and stuff.
Yeah.
They were still operational vehicles then.
22 if the crew had had baked beans.
Yeah, literally, they were rubbish.
The Bowser could reach about 40 foot.
Yeah, and a hose pipe either side.
Compared with the UK fire engines that we had in the 70s, they were grossly inadequate.
Yeah. It's a shame, really.
I mean, I think civil vehicles would be a good way to go. There seems to be kind of plenty of people here who would build them, like both in the chat and on the panel, you know.
Yeah.
It's not
because it's different. It's not. I personally like building different stuff, and it's, you know, it's different to the sort of stuff we usually build.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the buzz that was created when Airfix announced they were doing the Shannon class like that. A lot of people jumped on that So that sort of civil emergency type area, I think a lot of people would be interested in that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Carl wanting the Volvo 40. Yeah, that's the one. This is what I would like to build. Is one of these. I used to drive them. They're such fun to drive. We used to get on the quarry and you'd tip them right up and they would fall over on their side. You know, it was like, but the cab would be upright, but the whole thing would tip over. Funny, yeah. Oh dear, wasn't me though.
What about the fire engines they use on the
airports?
Airports, yeah.
They'll do them, don't they?
Well, there are a couple of companies that do them.
Yeah, Trump to do them.
There's a couple of East German companies and a couple of Russian companies that do them.
Because I'd like the Thunderbirds.
Many on the market.
No.
I like the big red Thunderbirds they've got at Heathrow because they're absolutely fantastic fire engines.
Yeah.
Do you know how many military fire engines there are available in kit form?
I wouldn't imagine as many.
Well, I can only think of one, and it never really existed.
The only one I can think of is the Trumpeter one, and that's a modern military airfield.
Trumpeter do. Oh, that's a modern military airfield one, right? So
yeah. And they do the civil version as well. It's very similar. That one.
Antics do a few, you know.
That's top.
Trumpeter, Mercedes-Benz, and that Unimog, which is quite nice.
Yeah, they do a Unimog. I've seen that one before.
Yeah.
There's a couple
No
of...
one does Dennis fire engines, though.
No. There's a couple of Kamaz fire engines that are used in, Russian companies.
ICM do the Eastern European one. Yeah, I built that.
See, look at that. That ain't bad, you know. That Ace Models Unimog, 1/72 scale, 18 quid.
Yeah,
you know, that ain't bad, is it? And I like Ace Models. I think they're underrated.
They have.
Somebody tell me I'm wrong, but I've done a few Ace Models over my years.
They have fit issues here and there, don't they? Because apparently they go together a bit like limited run.
Well, that's a hell of a kit from Trumpeter, though, isn't it?
I mean, if you've got an ICM kit.
Tell you what, that's a lot of money, though, for a Trumpeter kit, though, isn't it?
It's massive.
Holy smokes.
You know,
they do that one, and they do the military version of that.
Do they?
Yeah.
1/35. Jeez.
Yeah, it's like a foot and a half long or something.
To afford that, I'd have to go from 3-ply to 2-ply on my ass. You know what I mean?
Quit using the Charmin.
I'd have to tell the wife to make her own. Like, you know, it's like that's a lot of money in it for that.
Very cool, though.
Yeah, it does look a bit smart, doesn't it?
And they do in the kit. So you see where between the wheels there, where they've got like those side bins.
Yeah.
Well, in the kit, they've got all the equipment, so you can have those open with all the equipment in those side bins and stuff.
Do you remember the military fire engine that Airfix did in the emergency stuff?
Yeah.
That fire engine never existed.
Oh, really?
No.
So, because there was a fire engine, the ambulance.
Yeah.
Was there a fuel truck in there, or was it like the long?
The refueling set was a different kit. They had a Bedford QL and a C Matador refueler in a different kit, but the emergency set had the KT ambulance and that K6 Austin fire engine. The actual fire engine didn't exist. It was never built.
Look at that. That's 79 pounds. That's £79, that is. And do you know what, though? I'm going to say this. I go by pricing from Antics because I think they're very reasonable on there.
Yeah, but that's 24 scale. That's even bigger.
Yeah. But see, yeah, it's, you know.
I think Raval USA did a range of like the big American fire trucks.
Yeah, didn't Monogram do a Lafayette?
Yeah, all the chrome and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just got headache written all over it.
Not quite as bad as Mr. Craft, but getting there.
Yeah.
Hey, careful, Luke. There's no such thing as a shit kit. We'll just
Well,
say, no, you Mr. Craft, 2 black rifle on the wax.
I've just built the Italeri Sue helicopter because someone said it was unbuildable.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
it's not unbuildable. It just takes a little bit of work.
It does, yeah.
But it's not unbuildable.
Yeah. It's funny you should say that, John. I was thinking earlier it would be nice to see a Super Puma in Bristow air markings. Because my old man used to fly out to the rigs on the old Bristow helicopters. So it would be nice for me to be able to build him one of those, you know?
Yeah.
By the way, I'm going. See you later.
Cheers, Rory.
Bye.
See you, buddy.
I think he's 2 hours in front anyway now, isn't he?
Aberdeen, that's the busiest heliport in Europe because of all the to and fro to the rigs and stuff. There's a whole range of helicopters that they could release in civil markings to, you know, people to build. I'm sure people would, because it's nice sometimes to do something that isn't military.
Absolutely.
Hella does Super Puma, don't they? Can you get aftermarket markings for Bristow's helicopters?
I've had a look for Bristow markings. I couldn't see any anywhere, but I mean, you know, it's been a couple of years since I looked, so there may have been something put out since.
They flew S-61Rs for a while as well, didn't they?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
I know that Bristow's closed down now, though.
Bristow's still there, though, isn't it? Because that's what my cousin used to use to fly out to, but they don't fly from Aberdeen. They fly to, or they get to one of the islands, then they fly out to the North Sea. Because it's more over Norway than it is over this way, isn't it? It's more closer to Norway. Because what he was working on now, was it the Dunelm, the Dunelm, whatever it was? That's all closed off now. That's finished. But Bristol
was based primarily in Caister, just outside Great Yarmouth, which is where I grew up. You see, so they used to fly me our man up to Aberdeen, and then they'd fly him out to the rig. So that's in particular why I've got an interest in building sort of a Bristow Super Puma, because I remember seeing him going over all the time. You know, as a kid, it was
Alpha,
part of living in the Yarmouth. You know, as much as the blue buttons were.
Make a colourful scheme addition to a collection too, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Red, I mean, they're you know, 3/4 red, then with the white and blue stripe.
That's it, mate. It's the Dunlin Alpha that they've just finished off. That's all like finished now. That's all gone. But I think, is it King's Helicopters as well? Was that another helicopter company that flew out of Aberdeen? I think it was that. I don't know, but yeah, I don't think there's an oil rig, you know, for a scale model. But that would be cool if there was. There's lots of things that we could do now. Super Pumas are now banned in the UK sector, are they?
Yeah.
Really? Why is that then?
Because of all the gearbox problems they had. They were going down like in the 90s, left, right, and arsehole into the North Sea because the gearboxes were failing in flight. And obviously, once the gearbox fails, then the rotors don't tend to turn very well, and they just went like that.
Well, I heard, because there was an accident on one of the and on the way to the oil rig, and apparently they have shear boats. So what? Because they've got twins, haven't they? And then apparently the boat should have sheared off when one of the gearboxes failed. It should shear the boat but still carry on doing it, and it didn't shear, and it broke the other gearbox, and down they went, bang.
Yeah, it's something like that. I mean, I don't remember the exact specifics. I do remember though, because obviously I was living in Yarmouth at the time, and 2 or 3 of them that went down were Bristow Airways. And because they were based in Yarmouth, that was a big thing for the local industry. You know, it was part of what killed Bristow off, was the fact that most of their fleet was Super Pumas as well.
Rally Chef just said Sunberg Airport in the Shetlands. That's the one that he used to get sent to, and then off he would go off onto the rig. But yeah, Bond's the one. I think he used to fly Bond. I don't think it was Bristol. I think it was Bond. So, but yeah, you know, air ambulance is a good shout. There's a lot of it, but do they use the same helicopter amongst themselves? Do they, or different for each one.
Different.
If you want to build the Midlands Air Ambulance, the only one I know about is the 72nd Ravel. So you buy the 72nd, I think it's the EC-105, the Eurocopter.
Yeah.
And then if you go to Whirlybird, they do a conversion set.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But I know Ravel do some bigger ones as well, sort of European air ambulances and police helicopters.
Yeah.
Well, they do the
They do
Eurovision, don't they?
They do a BK-117 as well.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
They're like 32nd scale, I believe. The Ravel ones, bigger ones.
Well, the BK-117 and 72nd.
Yeah, but in the UK, every area uses different airframes.
Yeah.
Bristol have the contract for Coast Guard SAR. So, yeah, because all the rescue helicopters now is all private ownership now, isn't it?
More or less, yeah.
More or less, isn't it?
It is here in the States. Yeah.
It should have been kept in house because it gives something for them to do, doesn't it? I can't see how you go to a private company that's going to make profit while they just keep it into the forces. Doesn't make fucking sense, does it? Like everything, it's like we go private, then the French own electricity, and then we get our ass in our hands because our electric and gas prices go through the roof. I just, I've always said this: give me a political party that will guarantee that the gas lecky, and water gets brought back in house, even the trains, and you will get my vote. Because privatization hasn't fucking worked. We can't even go in the sea now down here down in Somerset and Devon. You can't go in the sea because they fucked up the water. All the sewage has gone to shit. Private,
Liz Truss said she was going to do that, but she didn't last long enough, did she?
That's about 3 hours.
Yeah, but I mean, she was a conservative. Do you believe in anything the conservatives say? Because I fucking don't.
Sorry, did somebody mention a lettuce then?
Bristol mostly used Berlin helicopters. Saw one on every one of the 3 peaks last summer. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Dutch advice: get rid of the 2-party system. Ha ha. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's working out well.
And that's what gets me. It's like you talk about the Falklands War and everything. We all, when they brought in the Poe tax, the whole country got up in arms about it. Yeah. They didn't dump that. We should be doing that again. Viva la vie. Anyway, Bristol run the helicopter services in the Falklands, if I remember correctly. There they do. They do. But anyways, so we've gone from planes to that. We've got half an hour left. What kit should be now retooled? If you were CEO of any company, what kit should be retooled? I want to say Concorde for one. That's got to be retooled. Somebody's got to do a Concorde this year. If Airfix don't do it, either Revell or Hella will end up doing it. But they can go to Bristol now and get the perfect example of a Concorde there. So
I'd like to see Airfix retool the Chieftain and the Centurion in one section.
Yeah.
When
began at redone,
you mean we released
I really didn't think it's the best
retool because the Chieftain's the prototype. It's dreadful. The Centurion is. I don't know if you've built it recently, but it's napped.
A brand new tool, Bradley.
Looking at.
Jaguar GR1.
Yeah,
we need that. But then Airfix don't own a Jaguar because Ella nicked it.
Yeah,
but that's why they should do a new tool.
They're going to bring one out this year. Come on, you can smell it in the air.
Yeah, they should do the Jaguar. They should do the Tornado. They should do the Harrier.
Yeah.
The English Electric Lightning and TSR2 all in 1/48 scale. They should retool all of those.
The Lightning 148 is a good kit, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Old tool.
It's a fairly old tool, and they won't bring it back out, so they can retool it. It's a good kit.
I thought the 148 was a newer tooling than that.
Well, the 148 Lightning was probably one of the last tools that
late
Airfix
80s?
produced before they went bust the last time.
All right, fair enough.
I built one last year, and to be fair, it is a nice kit. It goes together well. There's very little work to do on it, but I think by modern standards, it's absolutely lacking in detail and.
Yeah, if they did a 48 scale English Electric Lightning that they could do in F1, F2, F3, F6, different configurations, and they did it to the Gannett standard, it would sell in droves.
The F3 would need a different fuselage, wouldn't it?
It would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The F3 is the one with like the belly, isn't it?
It's got a bigger fuel tank, yeah.
Yeah.
And the 2
That's
seats.
right, they can do that.
And a 2-seat T5. That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Also,
I think
Also,
like
like somebody bring a 7
of
Meteor.
the Beverly. I don't know whether we'll see a new tool of it, but I mean, you know, Airfix made that post the other day, didn't they, saying about the restoration of the last Beverly in the world, and I kind of take everything they do now as a hint of what's coming in the future. So,
Well, no, don't say that because they keep banging out that bloody Bearcat at Duxford all the time at me. You're never going to do a Bearcat, are they, bastards?
I'm
But
still waiting for a new tool of an F-18 Hornet because of the New Year's post.
Yeah.
They
The
trolled you,
Halifax
Moss,
is up
didn't
there
they?
as well, isn't it? The Halifax is up there.
Moss.
Yeah.
To be honest, I
Yeah.
would like to see Airfix do new tools of some more international subjects, like an F-16 and an F-15.
That's a good shout. That is a good shout.
Well, the
I mean, they've got the F-15 starts yet, haven't they? But that's
F-16
not
50 years old.
Their
Not the best
F-16 is
tool.
ancient, isn't it?
Yep.
The tooling for that, I think, was late 70s.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was just as Borden Incorporated took them over.
Interesting.
1979, 80 maybe.
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
the same
I'd
tooling
have
that
Ross
was released a couple of years ago. It's the same thing.
Have Airfix ever done a Beverly?
No.
No.
Very few people have ever done a Beverly.
Well, there you go then. It's going to be a Beverly, and they're going to say every
Airfix has done a Beverly, haven't they? I'm sure I saw one.
No, not Beverly.
That was my mother's name.
Was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Beverly.
Tornado or Typhoon at 148 scale.
Yeah, I was just going to say, for me, a new tool, 48 scale Eurofighter Typhoon.
Yeah. A Eurovision Typhoon, yeah?
Provision Typhoon.
Eurovision. Yeah.
Do we need another Tonka at 48 though? That's the thing.
Yes,
No,
because
we
I've
don't.
built all of them and they're rubbish.
Really?
Yeah, they're not good. They're not good.
I know Phil Flory wants a Tonka badly from FX.
Yeah.
He asks that all the time. Whenever he gets Pramagit on there, and you know, one day Pramagit's going to say, "Well, there you go. Here it is." You know, every time. Yeah. He's got a point. You know.
Yeah, that tooling's ancient as well. The F-14, 70s.
70s tooling.
Same as the F-15. That's 70s.
Yeah. Emma Bird says an EH-101 Merlin in 172 scale.
Italieri do a good one.
Yeah.
What about a Vickers Wellesley?
Matchbox?
No, a new tool.
New tool.
Well, maybe.
Because it's enough. It's off the wall enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. A TSR2. I didn't open this one.
Well, you reduce its value by about 50% if you open that up.
Yeah, I know.
Do you want me to get mine?
I don't know what to do about this one now.
Do you think there'd be a market for some of the mainstream World War I aircraft in 148 from Airfix?
No.
Well, I'd like to see some of them in 32nd scale, to be honest, in particular like a Helix though, or a Walrus or something like that, you know, because some of the bigger stuff.
Yeah, but Airfix don't touch 32nd in aircraft, do they?
No.
No, Airfix don't, but it would be nice to see a Walrus or a Felix though in 32nd.
Or in
someone.
148.
Or a
Yeah,
seal.
even in 148.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they
Because-
do a Walrus in 48s, don't they?
Do they?
Yeah, they released it
In
this year.
particular, I'd like to see a string bag in 32nd, a proper, nice, detailed one in 32nd.
So when will Airfix make their first surprise announcement of 2024? I'm going to say June.
Yeah, I would go around there, judging from kind of everything that Dale's been saying and kind of reading
In between the lines.
some of the stuff they've been posting.
When I was at Poynton, somebody asked him when we're going to see most of these, and he said he wants every single one, all the releases from Christmas, he wants out by June. And then apart from the new starter set, the new starter set, Typhoon, that'll be out end of the year, he reckons. Because that was just a picture anyway. There wasn't an actual model, was there, done? So, Nigel, Wing Not Wings did the Felix Stone 132nd. HPH did Walrus in 132nd.
Yeah, but I mean, like trying to get hold of one of those could be like rocking all shit, isn't it? It could be like 300 quid if there's even one available on the market.
Yeah. I think Nigel's got 5 of each, hasn't he? In his stack.
I would be open to taking one of those off your hands, Nige.
Yeah. I'll go to 3 ply to 2 ply to buy one of them off your Nige.
I was looking at one of the albatrosses online the other week. They're amazing.
I don't think a Lysander would, John Marley. I don't think a 148 Lysander would be. I don't think they'll be looking at a Lysander. Well, they may do. Is the Airfix HG111 marked for Motorhead out of production? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is out of production. I got 2 of them.
That's helpful.
Moss is about to name his price.
But then, what I was going to say was you can buy the decals for that on eBay because somebody's made the decals for them as well. Basically, you buy the HE111 and just spray it black and then put the Motorhead underneath. That's all it is. What I would like Airfix to have done was to have the faces of Motorhead as decals that you could stick to the inside of the turret windows. Because on the
guitarists and drummers, it would
because on the album art,
people along there, wouldn't there?
Yeah. But I would like Airfix to do Trident. I like to see some of their 144 scale planes retooled. I think there's a market for them. You look at what's coming out from Revell, and they always stick to that 144 scale.
Yeah.
And all they do is keep re-releasing them, and they're not all that anyway. But I like to see commercial airlines back in the Airfix range. We had them. We had the Boeing 707, the 717, 727 once before. But again, you're looking. I think it was Hella tooling or Hella joint tooling, wasn't it?
No. They were
Airfix toolings, were they?
They were originally. What was the company called? I think they were launched by Airfix.
Yeah.
Oh, can't remember what they were called now, but they were 60s tooling, most of them.
Airfix.
Go completely left of field, and I'm not a car builder. I don't do automotive, but I would love a new tool 24 scale Mark 1 Escort.
Yes.
Revell do a Mark 1 Escort. 24.
Yeah, but it's terrible.
It's terrible.
So I would love someone like Tamiya to do it.
Yeah.
They just won't.
I wouldn't mind seeing an orange Cortina, like in
Granada. Mark 1 Granada.
A Mark 3 GXL Cortina.
within the Airfix, they're not Airfix. Didn't their sister brand Corgi just announce they're releasing a load of Ford stuff?
Really?
Yeah, I'm sure they've got Escorts and Sierras in their range. I'm sure they have.
Maybe diecast.
Yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice.
Ford Capri.
Airfix were a range of
Ford Capri laser
cars, and they just took the molds, didn't they? Do you remember the Ford Capri and the Ford Cortina and the Ford Zodiac? And they turned them into those god-awful custom cars.
Oh, God.
Oh, wait. Airfix do have the 727. Airfix do have the 727, the Boeing 727, because last time they released it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
In a red box.
Yeah, they've got a Boeing 737 as well, but it's the old 200 series.
Yeah. Just had an extra engine underneath, don't you, or something?
They were turbojets. No, they were low bypass turbofans. That's what it was.
Yeah. Nah, they could do all right. They do like they do this the Trident, don't they? That's a vintage classic now. But I think people would build that if they did anything. And to be fair, in all jestiness, right? If we actually laugh about it, it wouldn't take a lot for them to retool a lot of the old 144 planes, because all it is a submarine. It's two halves stuck together, a wing on the side, and a couple of wheels underneath, isn't it?
I mean, the recessed panel lines, they wouldn't even be worth putting in, would they?
Yeah, recessed panel lines on 144. Yeah, you can do that.
You wouldn't. No, but you wouldn't. Is it worth putting them in?
I think so. Everybody wants recess, don't they? Unless it's a Sea King, and they always did. Yeah.
Or a Comet 1.
Yeah. Oh, that's a bit harsh, Emma. Just make a pile of bits and call it a 737 Max.
Yeah, that's true. Sully would have a field day with a 737, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. An XR2i, please. That'll be fun, wouldn't it? If Airfix put out an XR2i. Because all you do is you just bring out a bog standard thing and the body kit on top, wouldn't you? As added extras.
Which is essentially.
I want a Metro. I want to build a Metro that has the Kenwood sticker on the back of the window like they used to have. Do you remember that? Back in the 90s, late 90s, everybody, during the height of when car radios used to get through, they would put a bloody great big Kenwood sticker on the top of the windows at the front and back,
on their
tinted windows at the back as well. Silly buggers.
Some of them British Leyland cars. God.
Yeah.
The Allegro. That was a good car.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That specific noise it made when reversing now in my head.
The Austin Maxi. There's someone needs
the Austin Maxi.
You could do an entire range, couldn't you? The shit cars range.
Yeah.
For the nostalgia, though, wouldn't they? That's the thing.
Yeah. Steve stuff saying I'd like to see new toolings of the C17 and the KC135 in either 144 or 172. Yeah. Morris Marina had crumbs. Yeah, I had one of them.
Yeah.
Morris Marina.
Yeah. I want a Capri now. Does such a car exist? Well, yeah, the kit exists. They did exist.
Hey, Oshima do a Capri, don't they?
Yeah,
they do.
And someone did a garage kit of it with a 4 or 5 years ago, but I don't know how easy that to get hold of now.
Tamiya do a racing version.
Yeah, Academy do one. Fujimi, Doyusha.
There you go.
Yeah.
Academy
did
one.
Well, I said that if Airfix need to do some more starter sets, the Beetle should be up there.
Yeah.
They should have a Beetle in their starter set range. That would fly out your door, wouldn't it, Alex? Because the amount of kids who like the old Beetle do a new style and an old style. And the other one, I think they should redo is the Ford GT, because that was a starter set in the old guys for years, and I built it, and I didn't think it wasn't that bad to build.
Yeah, they should do a Lancia Beta Mark 1. So basically which is a big pile of rust.
Yeah.
Well, Emma's saying she still owns a Princess. It's a great car. Wow.
If they did a Hillman Hunter, they'd have to put a hole in the door.
I tell you what, though, if they did a Hillman Hunter, my old man would love that.
And my dad would have loved it as well.
He drove one of those for 30 odd years.
My dad had a Hillman Avenger that my mum swore was a shut and cut because it was in Ford bright Dayglow orange. And we had to go to a funeral in it. It was the most embarrassing thing of my teenage years.
I can imagine you in the back there.
I would love it if they did a Hillman Imp or something like that.
Yeah,
Because I
Hillman Imp,
remember my old man saying that was his very, very first car when he passed his driving lesson. And again, I'd love to build him a Hillman Imp because he's been looking to buy one second hand and rebuild it, but they're so expensive. The frames and stuff that are left, that you just can't afford it. So next best thing.
With an optional oil puddle under the engine.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. With
the Imp then.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the car you had to jack up to take the spark plugs out?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I don't.
The engine was in the back, wasn't it? And
the engine was in the back.
Spark plugs out. You had to drop the engine down on the suspension, so you had to jack it up.
Genius.
The Ford Lotus Cortina Mark I, Airfix did with Haynes Museum, didn't they? Didn't they? Didn't Haynes Museum bring out
the Lotus Mark I Cortina turned into the? It was one of those custom car kits in the 80s. They destroyed the mold on that kit.
Yeah, they destroyed the mold to make them into those.
Yeah, they dotted them, turned them into the custom cars. They did that with the Capri and the Zephyr. And there was a lot of rumours that they did it with the Vauxhall Victor as well.
Val kits do a Metro 6R 4-wing.
Lovely.
The Triumph Stag was two engines bolted together, wasn't it? They used to overheat, didn't they?
Two Dolomite engines, yeah.
Dolomite engines, bolted them together, didn't they? To get
had two mechanics in the boot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
they used the same thermostat from the Dolomite as they did for the Stag, and that's why they kept overheating.
Yeah.
The Sierra Cosworth comes with like a little diorama of a shop with it ram raiding in it.
You know what, right? I would love to get a car like a Ford Sierra, and I would do it as a diorama of the woman driving it with the baby in the passenger well and the dad in the back, and call it, this is the most tragic thing you see on the road, isn't it? Really tragic.
I'll get you cancelled, Moss.
There's nothing more tragic than that. There's nothing more tragic than that. There's nothing more tragic than seeing a bloke in the back and the mum in the front driving with the baby, and that bloke's looking out the window thinking, I should have used a condom. That's what there's nothing more tragic, is there? I'll do that one year and stick it in Scale Model World and see if I get one of the year. If every judge is going there, I used to be that bloke. You know what I mean?
The hard part about that, Moss, will be hand sculpting all the shell suits.
Yeah, that's right.
We'd have to get onto Outlaw Paints for some weird colours.
There you go.
The shell suits. Somebody told me a joke once. It says, how can you tell a funeral in Glasgow? Because the pastor's wearing a shell suit.
Yeah. Hey, do you remember when they all first came out? When any of you sad bastards used to wear the top and the pants at the same time? Because I never did that. Yeah. They were the worst.
Why hasn't anybody produced a kit, right, of a black man where his jeans are halfway down his thighs and he's wearing these bloody Calvin Klein underpants?
Yeah.
You see them all the time, don't you, on the films and that?
Yeah.
And stuff.
Well, 100% here in the States, yeah.
Yeah.
But I was going to say that those show suits, those shell suits were just dog shit. because you would go swimming and you try and put them back on. You'd have to put them like a pair of socks, wouldn't you? Because you try and get your leg in and the shell inside would just max out. And you're trying to get them gone. They were crap.
Yeah, they were junk.
Oh, they were
They're very, 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 very dark blue.
You couldn't
I
go
remember-
in there if it was hot.
Oh, they were crap. I remember when Adidas brought out those popper trousers, right? You used to pull down one side and the other side, and you could rip them off, but you spend 20 minutes doing every single popper on the side and turn back down. I wore them once. So if I wanted to do poppers, I'd change me bedding every day. Do you know what I mean? Then I would
Yeah, but
Never
still good
right.
for a quick shag.
yeah, well, you couldn't run away, could you? That's the problem. You'd be there forever. Yeah. Did you ever notice there were no woke modelers? Well, I don't know.
I disagree.
Yeah.
We're more judgmental on the actual manufacturers than anything, to be fair. Yeah, modern equivalent of the shell suit is the Adidas tracksuit. Yeah, I get that. That'd be good if Airfix could do that. There could be a lot of Top Gear challenge kits, but then Top Gear's finished now, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Wouldn't it, though?
I've always said why nobody has never done a scale model of the Stig. I've never really. You can't find one. They've never
There's
done
plenty
one.
of 3D prints of him. I got one.
I know
I
that.
downloaded them the other day.
Yeah, well, I've got a 3D print of the rubber duck, haven't I? That's on Convoy. That's the rubber duck there.
Oh,
I thought you couldn't do pigs.
Shut your face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is a peg. He just took the bottom bit off.
I didn't do it. Somebody sent it to me, and I looked online, and because it's got black eyeliner, the actual rubber duck has got black eyeliner on his eyes.
Yeah, licensing.
Yeah, packed it done it like that. So, does it make me a snob to say I've never worn sports clothing outside of the gym? Listen, I live in
It makes you
sweatpants.
sensible.
No.
I live in sweatpants. You know, it's like when I'm up the ranch and it's cold, working out the barn. I always jeans do not keep you warm. They will never keep you warm. They never have since the year that they were designed to make into jeans because he couldn't make them into tents.
No.
You know,
Let's just rephrase that out in public.
out in public. Yeah, I've lived down there. If you want to see that, you want to go to Liverpool, where the parents would go in their pajamas, like a pajama top, tracky pants, and then they go down to the local Aldi to pick up their.
I don't get that. I
They
really
go to
don't
the
understand.
airport. How many times have you been
Well,
to the airport and you're like,
Well, if Liverpool's too,
crawled
if
out of
Liverpool's
bed
too far,
and went to the airport
if Liverpool's too far, you go to Birmingham. There's plenty of that there.
in their pajamas?
Yeah,
One
I've driven through both of those places.
Yeah, don't stop in Birmingham. Keep driving. Keep
Keep going.
Yeah, don't
Keep
stop
going.
in Birmingham. Your car will end up on bricks.
Well, that was what my friend said to me once. He said the problem with Birmingham, even the seagulls fly upside down because there's nothing worth shitting on.
Sounds like Oakland.
I always thought I had a tainted view of Birmingham because what I do for a living. So we only ever see the shit. But then I spoke to Sully, and he's never done what I do for a living, and he hates it as well. So I couldn't.
That's why we moved.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Alt 92 saying about licensing. The trouble is with licensing, it's not all fair and love and war. Airfix are quite clever because they've got umpteen brands under the Hornby Hobbies umbrella.
Yeah.
So, like with all the corgi stuff, the branding's there. They've got the contacts to sort out the branding. So yeah, it's but yeah, it's but I've just never seen a 1/16 or 1/8 figure of a Stig for many of the manufacturers, and I think they could get away with it now. And you know, they could have to call it the Stig. They could have called it the Tig, couldn't they, or something like that? You know, but make him.
You could have called it a racing driver, like with his arms folded and the helmet on. He just happened to be in a white overall, with a black visor. Yeah.
They could have called it the Stug.
Well, you just need to get it's all you need. All it is an F1 racing suit and helmet. That's all you need.
Yeah.
So
Oh, listen, I'm just saying, that when we went to a meeting, when we were at the thing, Dale said that they're very lucky that they've got Corgi under the branding, because they're able to get the licenses for these things. And they are very honourable with that, because the likes of Gecko in the ambulance, they just called it something else, didn't they? And Tamiya had done the same with their ambulance. They never mentioned the Austin brand at all. But Dale said that they are brand specific, but they're under the umbrella of Hornby Hobbies. So the ownership of those, the licenses are overall owned by Hornby Hobbies. It's that the brand Corgi decide, but there's probably
the irony of the that tale is that the licensing is owned by SAIC, which is a Chinese company. Automotive company.
Mad.
I don't understand why people have to pay licensing, because surely it's free advertising. Really, these companies should be thinking, how much would it cost me if I wanted to put the word Pepsi on 25,000 kits? No, they won't do it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They say about brand specific and everything, but we were having quick builds with the word Coca-Cola written down the side of it.
Yeah,
and that meant that you can actually sell those kits to under 14-year-olds because it's Coca-Cola. The quick builds is 6+, but they couldn't advertise them. It was 18+ or something, or 16+ because they had Coca-Cola written down the side. So
because of soda pop. Wow.
Yeah, we got all. Schools cannot give Marmite to children because of the salt content.
Yeah.
We
have a sugar tax on drinks in England. It costs more money to buy a bottle of regular Coke than it does a bottle of Diet Coke.
Yeah. But you ask anyone, do you ever see anyone drink Coca-Cola, a Diet Coke, and become slim?
No.
No, they have it with a Big Mac.
I weigh 270, and all I drink is diet soda.
Oh.
Yeah, I have not had a regular soda in I don't know, 30 years.
I think ultra processed foods is the danger of everyone anyway. So
Plus I sit around all day, but it's not good for me. I know that diet soda is.
Is there a law in America about these energy drinks?
No, because Mountain Dew exists.
Yes. There you go.
Because in England, you can't buy them unless you're over 16, isn't it?
Yeah. No. You can be a 8-year-old, go into the convenience store or whatever, the local gas station or
buy Red Bull,
liquor store or whatever, and an 8-year-old child can buy Mountain Dew like super or whatever. I know they have like levels of Mountain Dew, and an 8-year-old can buy the most concentrated sugar caffeine drink that you can get.
God.
After driving there and displaying his .22 pistol openly.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know why there's an abuse.
Alex, it'll be his M16.
He has to wait till he's 12 for the M16.
I'll just pull this out of my pocket.
Yeah.
Be like the film Fallout, wouldn't it? What time?
Can we just look at the question on the screen, lads, before we finish off tonight? Because I've always asked this question. Didn't the RAF want to license the Roundel until it was pointed out it was public owned?
No, it's Crown copyright.
I've heard something about that, but I don't know the details.
Well, I think it was under the Labour government. They had a bright idea to license that out to make some money out of the RAF. And then it was pointed out that a Roundel was actually because it's a royal. It comes because it says
Yeah.
Royal Air Force. It comes under Crown copyright, so they couldn't touch
Yeah,
it.
because the forces are all owned by the king.
Yeah.
You know that if you want to set up a YouTube channel where you get your content and just put it anywhere, and you can comment on that content and not get a single copyright strike.
No.
Is the Houses of Commons. You don't see people do that's publicly owned. Also, anything to do with NASA is all open use. So if you want to, if SpaceX are putting a rocket up and you want to do a live stream of that, you can't be done for copyright for showing that. Yeah, there's all sorts of own, government owned, but that's why I come out of the BBC. They want us to pay a license fee, but then they're raking in the millions, selling off the Top Gears to other countries. They've got their own BBC Maestro now, where they've got these celebrities showing you how to cook an egg, and then they're expecting us to pay extra fee. I haven't got a license fee no. I don't pay license fee no more because I don't watch anything live. I don't even watch iPlayer. In fact, I would just piss off BBC. I'm not having it.
Agree. I don't have a license either. I literally only watch YouTube and streaming services now. So
yeah, that's it. Amazon Prime.
Do you know what the most exported TV show is?
Top Gear.
I heard it was Mr. Bean.
No.
Mr. Bean is virtually sold to every foreign-speaking country in the entire world because it doesn't rely on language.
I was just going to say, it doesn't rely on speech, does it?
No.
He relies on a man who can bend his face all sorts of ways.
I mean,
he still crashed his McLaren F1.
Yeah. Was it a Veyron he had?
No, he had the original McLaren F1, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. In the middle seating. That was what it was. His golf club got caught underneath the brake pedal or something, didn't it?
Yeah, so he says.
Well, anyway, gents, I think it's been a really good chat tonight. We've discussed the history of the Falkland. We've put the world to rights. Again, which is what I love about this chat. We seem to be able to put the world to rights and everything. And but yeah, it's interesting. There's lots of kits to discuss. I haven't got a top. I'll tell you what I'm going to get on next week if I can. Anybody know Nathan from Airfix? He does a lot of the videos. I want to try and get him.
I mean, I've seen him. I don't know him.
Yeah, I've Nathan from Flight Deck. I'm going to try and get him on next week for a chat. And because he's a beginner modeler and he's doing very well. Some of the stuff he's done is quite good. Yeah. But apart from his Christmas one, because he dropped it and broke it, didn't he? After he finished building it.
Send him a copy of my book then.
He's like, whoops.
Yeah, you probably need more toilet paper. Have you not bought his book yet? Has anybody bought Tam's book yet, apart from me?
Yeah, I bought it.
You bought it.
I'm waiting for the hardbound 3-volume version. That's what and Tam knows it. So, yeah.
The thing is, though, on the back page, you can rip it out and you can make your own model airplane.
That's why I've got all the notes in there. So
yeah, it's very good, mate. That was a labour of love, wasn't it?
not really. I mean, I started writing it. I didn't really think it was ever going to come to nothing other than a saved doc file. To be honest, just started kind of just like headbutt the keyboard and words came out really. And then after adding pictures to it, it was Jess who said. After reading it, she said, you should publish that on Amazon. And I was just like, know where to start, to be honest. So that's how that all came about.
How many have you sold so far?
I don't know. I haven't really counted them.
Double digit.
Not more than 50, though, I wouldn't have thought.
Well, fair enough. But still money in the bank, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
I think the only problem with Amazon is they pay, I think they said 3 months in arrears. So I'm not going to get any money from it until probably maybe April, May.
Yeah, May.
Yeah.
Well, next time I see you building a wing nut wing nuts kit, then I know you've done well on the book, then, won't I?
I've got some good kits coming up on the channel, to be honest. We've got a rifle models. We've got a copper stake models kit. We've got a few other good kits. John was kind enough to send me an Avro Anson as well from the Airfix, so that'll be coming up fairly soon.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, John. Yeah, we've got a few different stuff coming up. That'll be really good.
No, as I said, I'm going to when I've got enough articles, I'm going to do what Jeremy Clarkson does, because he writes articles all over the place and then he puts them into a book, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that with my articles on my Substack.
It's actually easier to do than you probably think. I went into it thinking it's going to be all a hassle and a kerfuffle, and it's literally design your cover and then upload your doc format, and it does it all for you. If it says something like there's a bit of an issue with format, and you just press the auto format button and it does everything for you. Then once you've clicked accepted, it's literally ready to print. That's how easy it is. So,
well, when I get to 50
articles, if an idiot like me can get a book published, I'm sure you can, Mark.
Well, yeah, again, I've got about 200 people who read that weekly now, my Substack. I'm really pleased.
Yeah, I read it. It's good.
It's a laugh, isn't it? I just ramble on and tell you something's happened in my life and loosely link it to scale modeling somehow. Yeah,
but it helps us understand how you tick.
Is that what it is? Is it?
It does, yeah. It gives us an insight into how you are.
Yeah.
You have to tell us, John. I've not worked it out from your Substack articles yet.
Have you not?
This seems like a random. Yeah, I mean, it looks crazy, man. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's got this sort of style of humour that's underlying.
No, they are good.
And,
they are good.
Yeah, they are. They're very good.
And he's grown a decent beard now, so
yeah. I had it trimmed back actually because I was catching it in me when I was eating me soup. I was like, "Oh dear me,"
That's what you save it for later.
More, do we?
Well, if you go back and watch Tam's video from Friday, you'll see my Lemmy Motorhead beard.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
2013, remember?
Yeah. About halfway through the stream, though.
Yeah.
What's your favourite Motorhead song, John?
So it's either Killed by Death or Eat the Rich.
Is that which band's that, John? Alec? Which one?
Motorhead.
It's Lemmy. So we got furloughed because our government sucks, and so in 2013. I was out of work because I work for the National Institutes of Health, and so which is like your NHS, and we were out of work for 3 weeks, and so I was upset. I grew a beard.
Wow!
And when I went back to work, and I posted a picture of me in my office, I grew, a beard, and then I shaved it as Lemmy from Motorhead.
All right.
Yeah.
Came into the office, and I'm like.
I like my favorite of Motorhead is Bomber. I love Bomber.
Oh, Bomber, yeah,
that's a good tune.
Killed by
Definitely.
It's 10:05, folks. We're going to call it a night. Thanks everyone in the chat for joining us. Hope we had a good time this evening. We'll be back next Monday again. I'll try and get a guest on, and we will see you then. Everyone have a really good rest of your week, and we'll see you soon. Cheers all.
Bye.
Bye.